and welcome. My name is Daniel Lutringer, member 1007. In the midst of another lockdown, we've decided to kick off Series 3 of our New South Wales Refs Life Member interviews. Today, we are joined by a Life member who has had both a very diverse and distinguished career. It's one of the association's all-round good guys, Doug Keane. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you, Daniel. Yes, Doug Keane here, number 878. This is a bit of a honour, must be. I know you've done quite a few of these before, and yeah, thanks for thinking of us. It's fantastic.
Oh, well, everyone's got their story, Doug. Everyone's got their story to tell, and very much looking forward to hearing yours. Now, how are you at the moment?
Mate, I'm good. Obviously, we're in a bit of a lockdown. I'm a people person. I like seeing people and stuff, so it's a bit like Groundhog Day, but yeah, we've just got to get through it, keep positive every day, and an inch closer to getting it right next time for a lot longer period. So I wish everyone all the best. I hope their businesses survive and, you know, look after your family.
Hopefully, if everyone can do the right thing, we'll be out of it sooner rather than later. Now, what have been some of your pursuits outside of rugby league? And can you tell us a little bit about them and your family?
Yeah, outside footy. Well, we'll get to the footy in a minute. But yeah, I joined the police out of high school. I had nearly 20 years in the New South Wales Rugby League, then went into a bit of security stuff, but mainly footy again. So 18 years, I think I was full-time rugby league person. Blessed to have that long a time in the game, because it's hard to get in and even harder to get in later on once you're gone. So, no, it's been great. So policing was plain clothes mainly, in drug squads and gaming squads and all sorts of different squads, and surveillance and that. Love that. That finished in '99, just before the Olympics. So I was lucky enough to go to Atlanta to be a security personnel at Atlanta Olympics, and then it was in Sydney. It was fantastic. So since then, I've been in sales the last 2 to 3 years since leaving footy full time. And yeah, that's had its challenges, but I like talking to people, and that was good. Yeah, that's me and my grandmother there, the photo back in 1981. I wore New Down socks, I think, that day, and the next week I was at the grand final watching the mighty Blue Bags in the grand final in 1981. I think one of my first roles. So that was great memories.
And your family keeps you busy at the moment, the young fella?
Yes. So second marriage with lovely Sylvia and young Jack, who's 10, and I got 2 other boys. All start with Jay, Josh and Jake, and 24, 28. So yeah, good memories there too. The Peter Filmer and Bungers, and yeah, that's our class there back at the Redfern Academy, where you used to go 8 to 5 every day instead of going down to Goulburn. It was a different experience. A lot of footballers were there too, just from day one. From the police, there was Neville Glover, famous footballer, was there. Greg Kelly was referee as well. Yeah, so police footy was very big in my 19 years in the job. I formed the Australian Police Rugby League as well. So yeah, had great memories. We'll get into a bit of that. I think you've got that for later on.
Yep. Now, we'll start to head towards your refereeing journey. Now, I suppose leading into that, you played lower grades for Canterbury and Newtown. Can you tell us a bit about how that led up to you joining Balmain in the mid-1990s?
Yeah, okay. So to start the whole odyssey of footy, which I did at the start of COVID, took quite a while, but you know, I've been involved in rugby league since 1971. I was getting in trouble at school, at primary school. There was no focus, and my brother said, "You got to go do a sport." So we lived at Redfern. So the first year was with Moore Park in the South Comp. We then moved to Newtown, and then I played all the junior reps through Newtown and high school and different things, and went over to Canterbury. In 1981, we made the Jersey Flegg Grand Final. I was vice-captain for Newtown in 1980, and then went from there. So after that, joined the police. So that was my focus, footy-wise. But first touch of refereeing in year 7, or first form, was back in the day. Jack Danzy, who was my PE teacher. So Jack knew I was playing footy, so he'd get me to referee at school. So unofficially started then, and then got it many years later on. But yeah, Canterbury was great. You can see there was some good footballers there, beside not me, but a few that went on to bigger and better things in rugby league. But as I said, I joined the Cops, and that was my focus then. I would have loved to have played first grade. I got on a couple of times reserve grade off the bench, and about the same in refereeing too, up to about reserve grade. So it was fantastic.
So how did it come about? You came back to refereeing in the mid-90s officially?
Yeah, so played on my police footy and did what I did there. And then, as I said, Jack started us off and I said, I played for England. There's a couple of things people don't know. I played for New Zealand police. I played for England police. They were on tour and they was, needed players. So I always put my hand up to referee and play. So, I played for both of those. In 96, the knees were gone by then. So I said, I always had the thought when I finish playing, I want to get straight into refereeing. So I lived in Balmain. I was at the PCYC working there. So I said, yep, that'll be the area. It's nice and close. Started there. And so the first few years, you got it there. I just refereed everywhere, anywhere I could just to get that experience because at that stage, I was early 30s. So I wanted to get as far as I could. Yeah, I had dreams to get the first grade, but after a few years, got graded, then went into touch judging after that down the track to fulfill my goal of getting as high up in the ranks. Like a player, a referee too, I think always wants to try and get and test themselves up at the highest grade they can. So, so I did plenty of games early, then started with Balmain. That was great. And then over to South Sydney, did a bit there, Canterbury. I got graded there and I've been a member at Canterbury since. My son, I said South Sydney, my son took it up for a little while at South. So that's been a good association to be involved with as well. So, that's where we started at Balmain.
And just quickly back on your playing, were you always a winger?
No, mate, no. When one of those things, when the reps came up here and there, they'd throw me on the wing. But no, I love playing with the ball in my hands. I was mainly 5'8", halfback and lock most of my career, and that in the police as well. But in the police and a couple other places at Newtown, and you'd go on the wing every now and then just to have a rest, I suppose.
Oh, that's good. We know what Chairman Peter Filmer thinks of wingers.
Yeah. They just watch that line to make sure no one goes out. Yes.
So as you mentioned, you were graded to the New South Wales grade squad in 2001 as member 878. What are your recollections of this period of your career?
Oh, it was, as I said, it was great. I got busy. Junior reps, we trained hard. I know at that stage I was normally up the front with a few other guys. We used to test ourselves. Ben Cummings was probably the prominent one out of that group, who's now refereed more first grade games than anyone. And a much touch on Bill Harrigan was a good friend of mine in the police, and he also pushed me along a bit, said get involved, Dougie. We were on a tour once in New Zealand, and Billy was our hooker, and he disappeared before the game. The next minute he comes out in a referee's uniform. We say, what are you doing, mate? You've turned to the dark side. What's going on here? We didn't know he refereed, but, history says how good he was, after that. And I didn't mention before my claim to fame probably as a player. We played New Zealand in 1982, and I was lucky enough to score 6 tries out of 8. Again, being a winger, all I did was basically put the ball down. I was pretty lucky, but still got that record, so I cherish that one. But here, such as another one, that was in Morocco. We were probably been the only team to tour Morocco since or before or after. That was an amazing tour. So that was very interesting. So that was the Australian police team and the Moroccans on the left.
So your refereeing career provided many unique experiences. You've travelled to many countries throughout the world, as we'll find out in a minute. And you refereed in every state of Australia. During this time, you officiated in several international fixtures. There's 3 of note that I'd like to talk about in particular. The first being the 1996 St. Patrick's Day clash between the USA and Ireland, which you refereed at the RFK Stadium in Washington, which is here behind me. How did this opportunity come about, and what are your memories of that occasion?
Okay, so my first wife, Jenny, she worked for Qantas. And anyone out there that knows when you work for Qantas, you can pick up a cheap airfare from time to time. Thus, I was lucky enough to be able to go around Australia and around the world pursuing my rugby league refereeing experience and career. And I met where did I meet? I met an American gentleman who was a bobsled commentator, but he also ran the American Rugby League. So he had these games. They said, Dougie, can you help out? And David Newey and a few others I met when they'd come to Australia for the sevens and that, different things. So I started helping the Americans. And the next minute, I was flying to Texas, San Francisco and doing all these games. And then the opportunity came up to referee, would you believe, America and Ireland at the former home of the Washington Redskins, now the Washington Football Club. And yeah, what a great experience it was. And it was on TV, it was cold and all the rest of it. But I remember it was a great experience, a good blue. The Irish just got them at the end of the game. And yeah, it was a great experience. There's probably about 10,000 people on one side of the thing, but it was on TV and everything else. So I do look a little bit younger and fitter there. So that was a good experience.
I think they're actually going to, I read they're actually going to knock this stadium down in the next year or so.
Yeah. I think they've already gone to a new one. Yeah. So that one, they haven't played there now for a couple of years, Washington. But with that, there was plenty of these opportunities, and also got other people like Darren Lang, Peter Anton, all these people have done other things when I was working for the league, and we did a lot of international stuff and got people opportunities to referee like these type of games. So obviously they didn't have anyone experienced in America. England would have had to send one out with the cost. So yeah, just at the right spot at the right time, I suppose. And I was there when they came out for the sevens. I was there, one of their trainers and stuff. So that was fantastic.
And these two blokes, these were locals, touchies, were in your line?
Yeah, local guys. Yeah. I think in one of the Blues, one of the touchies come in. It was only the one really, and the big fella Hicks, he's come in and grabbed one of the players and gave him a pass. And mate, no, you can't touch them. Only talk to them. So the other claim to fame there was, and probably the last good game that I refereed was about 2 years ago when I could still run a little bit, was in Hawaii. The New South Wales Police went to play Hawaii out at the stadium there at the university, and you had the mic on. I refereed it because the locals weren't confident enough, and that was the last game really that I did as a senior level. So yeah, that was fantastic. Because if anyone goes to Hawaii, I am the referees director of Hawaii. So if you ever want to go there, I'll let you know where the training sessions are for tax purposes.
Weren't you also the delegate for the Norfolk Island referees?
Oh yeah, like that? Yeah, that's another great place. If you get a chance to go there, go to Norfolk Island. That is a great place. Well, the other favourite I had was, we'll get it to later on anyway, but Jamaica was pretty cool. But yeah, Norfolk Island, great people. They've just become Queenslanders again. So New South Wales have relinquished looking after the island and back to the Queenslanders.
All right, we'll move on to the next international. Came in 2003. This was at Cogra Oval, also with some significance. It was Greece's first ever international against Italy. What do you recall of this experience?
Yeah, well, that one, it's just networking with people that I known, and they said, Doug, you want to do this game? I don't know how it landed in my hands, but it did at the time. I think it was during grade semis and stuff in September. But yeah, at Cogra, it was, I can't remember the score, but I know it was close. Only one try in it. Greg Florimo with the Italians. There was some aspect about a forward pass or something, but anyway, the Greek touch judge said it was okay, and Italy scored in the end and won. You can see him going crazy there. That was another good experience. The photo is actually behind me here.
Yeah, this one on screen, it's signed by Steve Georgalis.
Yeah, Steve Georgalis, one of my good mates. Again, and Terry Liperopoulos, they're stalwarts of rugby league, and I said, yeah, you want to get involved? I said, yeah, that'd be good fun. I think the touches with Peter Anton, it was in there before, who's another stalwart of rugby league around the grounds.
I think Zappi might have been on the game as well. Somewhere.
Yeah, and Zappi. Yes, yeah, and Zappi. So we had a couple of Greeks. Still couldn't get them home, but anyway.
Now the last one of note, you were back in America in 2004 and officiated as an in-goal touch judge for the international between the Kangaroos and the USA at Franklin Field in Philadelphia. The Kangaroos were given a bit of a scare that night. The US almost pulled it off. How'd this opportunity present itself? And what were your memories here?
Yeah, that was a lucky one in that I think I was just going to do interchange or in goal, might have been. And then the local touchy's done his leg in about 5 minutes. And I grabbed the flag and then was touch judge. So, that was after about 5 minutes. His leg went on him, and that was a good experience. You could see some of the players there that played for Australia. They did give him a scare early. And, that was at a college there, university. Some of the grounds over there, they're just unbelievable. Every city has a number of them, the universities, and they're all, as good as what we have here with our stadiums. But, that was not a great experience. it was pretty close. So, but just to mingle with, both teams, especially the Australians at the time, it was great.
Yeah, you can
Right
see
spot at the right time.
Yeah, you can see on screen there the names for
Yeah,
Australia. And then
yeah.
Even the US, they had Matt Peterson and I think Brandon
Yeah.
Costin playing that day.
Yeah, they've stalled a little bit. They've been trying hard. They had a bit of a comp in Texas and LA and different things, but it's more now on the New York East Coast that they're slowly getting there, the Americans. But if it ever grew properly, they'd go really well at it. But it's just taken them a bit of time to get some leverage.
Do they actually have two conferences they were just about to start up? COVID.
Yeah, I think correct. Before the COVID and everything else. Yeah, they had those. So I have still in contact with David Newey from time to time and stuff. So yeah, it's been good. Now, you've done your homework. You do some good stuff here, mate. It's fantastic, Daniel. I must applaud what you've done.
Oh, thanks, Doug. I appreciate that. Now, there's also a fellow graded member who was on that game as well. Darren Gosha was on the line there.
Yeah, I think Gosha might have been. He's had a very good corporate life with work, and it might have been something to do. He was away over there at the time, and I think he's looking after Australian athletics now. So yeah, Gosha's going well. So it's good to catch up with him over there and had a bit of fun. I remember being in the sheds afterwards. There was the Queensland front row. I just can't remember his name, but yeah, he wasn't playing that day, but we had quite a few drinks afterwards. He came in and thanked us for doing the game, so that was pretty cool.
That's the things that make refereeing, isn't it? Really, you enjoy refereeing the game, but the experiences you have off the field throughout your career.
Oh yeah, then that's what it's all about, helping each other as a group of referees. But afterwards, the camaraderie, you're part of it and stuff. So yeah, it was excellent. As I said, met many people during this experience, and especially people like yourself, the junior reps and stuff. When I was working for the New South Wales Rugby League, it was fantastic to see people like Ziggy and a few of them up there now, cracking first grade, Toddy Smith and stuff, and yourself destined to be there later on. So keep it up.
So turning our attention back to the New South Wales grades, you had a successful career there as a touch judge from 01 to 04. You reached reserve grade, as we said. How do you look back on your time as an active official in the grade squad?
Oh yeah, just I felt that that achievement was just as good as playing the game and getting to reserve grade as well. The people I've met, like Clarkey, and you can see him on there, Tony De La Harris, a lot of the guys were coming up through the ranks to get the first grade. So it was very good. Great people, and good experience. Alan Fowler, I didn't know. I do stuff now with Alan. He's on the board at West Magpies, and I'm the ground announcer. I'll have to get that one off you, that Dragon Sharks one. So I see Luke Bugden, Ben Cummings there. So there's a lot of people have come through. Jeff Eunice, so some fantastic people.
We'll talk about your ground announcing later on, but I wish I got a dollar every time you mention Alan Fowler at Lidcombe Oval.
It gets done a few times.
Now, your final game in grade was running the touchline in the 2004 Jim Beam Cup Grand Final between the Sydney Bulls and the Entrance Tigers. Now, this match was played a weekend before the NRL Grand Final. It was before the preliminary final between the Roosters and the Cowboys at Stadium Australia. What are your memories of this?
Highlight of my great career at the end there. It was fantastic. I think Wayne Loveday retired that day as well. And, his son Nathan's going through the squad now. And Rod Lawrence, our Sydney referee, did the game there. It was a great experience. One of those surreal moments. So I knew that was going to be my last game. I'd injured my knee earlier in the year and they didn't want me to rep. I said, no, I'm coming back. So I kept going and did all right at the end and was lucky enough to get that appointment to finish off. And I said, I'll stay involved, but this will be my last on field with grade. So, and the old end of the game, looked around the stadium, said, that's it, and walked off slowly and concentrated on other things in the association off field. So, it was a great day. To get a grand final on your last game was pretty cool, whatever grade it may be.
Now, you mentioned some of the names of the younger guys coming through. So many of them would have met you through your role with New South Wales Rugby League in the referee development. Whenever there was a game that needed to be refereed, Doug Keane would always be on the phone to sort it out and get someone there quick, smart. How did the transition take place from on-field in refereeing to then working in the grassroots full time?
Oh, it was another great opportunity. I started out at Western Suburbs, Campbelltown, to look after the game there in relation to school visits and refereeing, and it just all came hand in hand with the job and the association. So it was great. You can see there's different squads, our junior rep squads, and that was my favourite stuff to do on a Wednesday training with Tony Danks and the great people we had looking after us down the bottom there. We used to go to all different carnivals, and there's Billy, we're at somewhere. I don't remember that one, but
I think that might be Narrabeen in the background.
Could be, yes. Yeah. The car on the side. Yeah, probably is. So we got Billy there. So seen Billy the other week. He's a good man. And and out at the All Schools Carnival, I used to love running that. That was fantastic. And the other good thing was taking referees on national or state championships. So we'd go over interstate, different places in country, New South Wales. I really love taking the young referees, and Casey Badger came to one as well. All these referees that have come through, we've got some sort of connection with them. Yep. So it's been fantastic.
I think for a lot of referees, I suppose the All Schools was the start for them. That was their first big break out of their district, where they got seen a little bit.
Yeah, we had the great, ground coordinators looking after all the volunteers who would select those referees. Another great person that I've met and still very close with, we talk most weeks, is Frank Leonard. He was in our ex-secretary. So, like shout out to Frankie, been a great friend and colleague through all these years.
Now, we'll have a look at some of your best work. You ran some courses as part of that as well.
Players Paul Mellor and Henry Perinara have taken their first steps towards becoming NRL referees. It is hoped that the experience gained playing at the top level will transfer over to the whistleblowing duties.
I think if you've had some experience at playing it to whatever level, and obviously they've been to the top of the game, that experience will come through as a referee, because you can read the game better.
The two former players joined a class of...
So the role entailed everything from running referees courses, finding referees, as you said, taking referees on tour. I think many of us younger guys in particular have a lot to thank you for, and I just wanted to pass on that thanks while we're here and have that opportunity, Doug.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. You'll have to send this to me, mate. I don't think I've ever seen that NRL one before. That's great. But,
I'll make sure I get you a copy.
Yeah, we'll get a copy of this. That'll be fantastic. Yeah, no, it's been humbling. I just, my take on life is, try and help others, have a good time doing it, and it comes back to you. Giver's gain, I think they call it. The more you give out, it comes back to you in good ways. It's all about karma and all the rest of it. So
it certainly does.
Yeah, fantastic.
So in conjunction with your work commitments, you served as the Director of Affiliate Liaison for our association from 05 to 06, and then again from 2010 to 2015. This role, unfortunately, has been absorbed by other roles in recent years. What did this role entail at the time, and what led you to keep it on for so long?
Oh, yeah, again, it went hand in hand, the affiliate liaison. I was visiting the associations, with my work, and I thought, well, also I'm on the board. That would be a good position to get to know people in those areas, build relationships with them. And as you said, it was easy for us to just ring up and get people for games that came up late, or pull-outs. And I used to probably do it would be a couple of thousand easy a year games that I would put referees on, try and further their careers, and did it in their local areas where they lived and different things to help them out. But they all benefited from that and had great experiences. So yeah, that's another good one. The Director of Affiliate Liaison was a great role, and it was great being on the board with so many people over the years. And you can see their noggins there in the picture.
Now, you also served the association in the role of NRS State Manager. That role doesn't exist anymore. Can you tell us, for those that don't know, what was NRAS?
Yeah, the National Refereeing Accreditation Scheme for all sports, but in rugby league. So I was just managing that and, helping the areas get courses together. It's changed a bit now. It's a bit more nationalised. I think Tony Archer might be heading that up these days, but it's changed a lot from what it used to be. But that was good fun again. And, I got to do things in the country and interstate from time to time. So, and Barry Ruddle did a really good job on compliance on that before myself. So I think I was the last one in that role.
Yeah, I think
So,
you'd probably agree with me that the technology has led to that change. I can remember, like you said, Barry Ruddle, Brett Lynch sitting in classrooms with them, doing courses for level 1, level 2, and those kind of things. And
now it's
a lot online.
It's all changed. Yeah, I don't know. I need to probably comment if it's better or worse than the old system, but it is what we have now. So you move forward with that. Yeah, there's a few old heads there. It's probably at our life members reunion.
Now, over the years, as you mentioned, you've been heavily involved in the Police Rugby League. You played an integral role in setting that up. Can you tell us some of the places you've been and some of the events that took place along the way?
Yeah, just quickly there, police footy. So we had New South Wales, we played city country. I just had a thought one day. I said, in other states, there's got to be other people that want to get involved with police football, such as, Queensland. And we used to play them a bit, but then, we just moved it on a bigger scale and tried to get national. So we had championships in Perth, on the Gold Coast, down in Tasmania, and we were able to get enough support to eventually, play against teams like the USA there at Leichhardt Oval. So, so we just bandied it all together, had national championships, and went from there to a national team. And as I said, we went to Cook Islands, was a great tour. I've already mentioned Morocco, over to England a couple of times. They were great tours, and the camaraderie of the police, and especially playing rugby league. It's been entrenched in the game since the start, where, a lot of referees were ex-policemen or teachers. A lot of players, just about every team in rugby league history has had policemen in their team, probably from Johnny Raper all the way through to Bill Harrigan as such. And they've gone hand in hand, policing and rugby league. Yeah, so Morocco, as probably I said before, was great. Probably the best tour we were on. And England twice as well. So 3 times, 2 as New South Wales, 1 as Australian team.
Did you do a mix of, like, you'd manage and set up the tours, but then also dip in and do a bit of the refereeing at the same time?
Oh, yeah. Again, any opportunity came, if the locals would let you referee, we would. In some countries, there were no referees that wanted to do it, or that standard. So, that was all good from all the way through to all the islands and that we went to. New Zealand quite a few times. Like I toured there, I think 7 times as a player. We used to go there every second year. The New South Wales Police, we played Auckland and New Zealand Police Rugby League. So that was good. And we had a World Cup. I organised a World Cup back in '96, and we had New Zealand, England, and Australia, or New South Wales, where then we got up in that one. So that was in Sydney. That was another good experience. So there's just so many memories from all these games. And as you had that list before, I've recorded just about every game that has been on. You've got in that photo there, you've got to the left, he's one of the Canberra trainers. Craig Catterick came through the Police Rugby League, and then he went on to Panthers or whatever, New South Wales and Australia. So a lot of these guys have also came through and got careers in the proper NRL and first grade and stuff. So, it's been great.
So significant contribution to that part of rugby league. And in 2004, as you can see on screen, you're recognised with life membership for the Australian Police Rugby League. How important is that achievement to you?
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic. It's changed names a little bit now. We don't get it's changed a bit due to work conditions and whatever else. They don't have any nationals anymore. They have a 3-way, New South Wales, Queensland, and the rest of the country, which was, unfortunate they couldn't keep going the way we were before. And then, just went from there on an international one as well. So that was me, I think, over in England, just been over there for a game, and I could run a little bit more than the moment. That was a great place. If you want to go somewhere for rugby league, Northern England is just amazing. All the towns that play league, it's a religion up there. Whereas, the rest of the country, it's football, the soccer and union are very predominant. But up north in the Yorkshire and different places, it's fantastic.
So pushing forward in chronological order, in 2006, your work within our association is recognised when you achieved the George and Amy Hanson Trophy, now named the Doug Winton Award. What did this mean to you at the time?
Yeah, again, any of these type of awards, just, you're in the right place at the right time. Maybe I was just busy and doing what I had to do, and picked up to George and Amy Hansen, which is now, as you said, over to Doug now. And there was a couple of, life memberships, always nice too. And I've had that at New South Wales Police, Rugby League, Australia, and the New South Wales referees. Obviously, that's why I'm here in front of you. So I cherish those life memberships. It's always good to. Not that you need to get that award, but yeah, it's thankful and appreciated.
So as we touched on, plenty of friendships made throughout your career. I'd like to talk about a couple of influential people in your life from your career, many of whom we know. The first is New Zealand referee Leon Williamson. Leon came to some prominence refereeing Toyota Cup in 2008 when it first started, and then he refereed the 2008 World Cup here in Australia, and then the Four Nations in 2009. How did this friendship come about?
Yeah, just with my role with New South Wales Rugby League and the referees back in the day, I'd look after, visiting people. I did the boys out at my wedding, and Leon and I are probably the closest friend that I have outside Darren, my mate from school, who we joined the police together with. Leon would be my closest friend. We would talk 3 or 4 times a week about different things. He he was doing boxing and different things, getting a little bit of trouble himself. So he said, "We're coming over from touch refereeing, try rugby league." And, he became the best over there and had a long and distinguished career. He's an electrician, or a plumber, I should say, always working hard with the family. So, we've went over a surprise birthday for him a couple of years back. And, we're very, very close. And, he's a great guy. And, I've got so many friendships and probably all predominantly from the police days and rugby league refereeing and playing. It's, around my friends have all been involved in this great game. So it's been fantastic. The other thing I like to say is that, you start as a player, and I was a ball boy, and, I've had 51 years of involvement straight in rugby league, and it's been the best time of my life, from a selector to coach to, you name it, the CEO of the Newtown Jets, refereeing, all that type of thing. I've been blessed to be involved in such a great game, and getting around and knowing a lot of people in the game, such as yourself, through to, club CEOs and different things, to the ball boys. You get to know everybody and ground managers and stuff. It's a great game. It's just something that pulls everyone together. At the moment, COVID, if it was for rugby league, I'd be going more crazy. At least I can watch a game and, on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just to take away from everything else that we're going through at the moment. It's so important that the game and AFL for people down south continues.
51 years, that's a magnificent achievement, considering you're only in your mid-ish 50s.
Yeah, well, now it's down towards the end. I got a big one coming up. I got a 6-month training thing coming up before it soon. So, I still feel in the 20s. So mentally, anyway, I haven't grown up yet. So people would probably agree with that. That's for sure.
Yeah, anyway, I remember you were always busy. I always wondered how you had time to fit everything in. So another name that we might be aware of, some would be familiar with the story of the rediscovery, I suppose, of Robert Culkin to the association approximately maybe 10 years ago. He was then the oldest living member of the association. Can you tell us a little bit about the story that evolved at the time and your friendship with him?
Yeah, well, someone walked into the New South Wales Leagues Club at the time. That was back a while ago, and it was Robert. He came in and said, "Oh, I used to referee, seen someone at reception." So they put him through to me and went, come and said hello to him. And then he lived just down the road, not too far from me here at Abbotsford. And we hit it off. And I think he was, mid-90s then, and or getting towards that. And great fella. He had his old tickets. I've got one actually. And he was a grade referee for 5 years back in the 40s, I think it was. It's amazing. And Robert lived to 100 and a bit over that. And then sadly, we lost him. And you've got to remind me, our oldest member at the moment, I've been trying to think this morning, from North Sydney. He is amazing as well.
Brian Barry. Yeah,
Brian. And Brian, he's not far off the 100. And Robert was very good, and your mind was or whatever. But, Brian's just amazing. Like he can nearly go back on the field and do some refereeing. And so we're so lucky, and he's taken over he's been around a lot longer, obviously, with us the whole time. Brian, but Robert, is just a cherished man, great fella, and we had some good times together, and got him on TV and different things, and he was also a good ambassador for us in that period, and as Brian's doing now. So lovely man, but sadly missed.
I can remember going to association meetings early on in my junior career, and Robert speaking with such passion about refereeing, and then, like you said, Brian Barry since then as the ambassador. Amazing.
Yeah.
His intellect, his memory, and the detail. We interviewed him last year. The detail he can give about a story, it's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah. He's killing it still, and he's still organising the bowls. Our bowls get together. Great man.
Now, another person who we unfortunately lost in recent times was life member Jack O'Sullivan. I can remember him through experiences at the All Schools Carnival with yourself. What are your memories of Jack O'Sullivan?
Yeah, again, Jack, old-fashioned, straight up and down, lovely bloke, and I know his family well, and we still have contact. We had contact this week. Lovely fella. He did a lot back in the day, and refereeing and stuff. If you go through the old programs, what the history of these people. And he was really good at helping juniors and stuff, and that's why we have an award named after him, and at the All Schools and stuff. And he, great man again, and said his word, and was very straight, and lovely fella, Jack. And again, we miss Jack as well.
And he was a West man?
Yeah, West, yes. West Magpie man. He's there with Dennis Baggerino, West Magpie as well. And Frank Leonard there, and that's his daughter Judy there in the photo.
Do you wanted to say something, sorry?
Yeah, just saying, these guys have just been good role models and fantastic to be around. And Frank Leonard's another one of those who's, I think Frank's getting his 80s now. So he's done a lot for the country referees and the city ones. So, and Dennis is a good close friend there as well. So stir him up every now and then.
I think it's very important. I think we're very fortunate, as the saying goes, those that dug the well before us. I think it's very important to reflect on their contributions and how much they've paved the way for us.
There's another gentleman too. We should mention one more from New Zealand, John McEwen. He came over and did a lot of the All Schools and wanted to take programs back to New Zealand to help, because I think we're quite a well advanced in our referee development as opposed to New Zealand. And Johnny had a stroke a few years back, but he's recovered and nearly 100% back. So hopefully you can see this later on. Just want to say hello to John as well over there with Leon.
He is another lovely man. I remember at All Schools, him and Sam, Big Sam from New Zealand, they used to come every year. And John was so lovely that one time when I actually travelled over to New Zealand just for a holiday, he offered and let me stay in Auckland and do some training with the referees over there. And that was.
Were you under the house? Were you downstairs?
No, I didn't stay. I didn't stay at the house.
I stayed there. Yeah.
But no, it's good to hear that he's on the mend. The last one we'll touch on briefly, because you mentioned him before, was Jack Danzy, who we sadly lost last year. Again, the story behind your connection, he was your PE teacher.
Just before that, you mentioned Sam. Sam's over in Perth now, so if there's any interchange, you see him over there. All right, so here's where it all started. So for those that like me or don't like me or whatever in rugby league and refereeing, it's Jack's fault. As I said, he was like God at school. We were 13 and we had a guy at school who was not just our PE teacher, but a first grade rugby league referee. So he was a very straight, tough man, Jack. No nonsense. But when you got to know him, he was a gentleman and a top guy. So eventually he got me started in it. And then later on, he was a bit of a mentor when I first started, and, kept in contact with him all the years. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we had our school reunion for 40 years postponed, and Jack was coming, and then he passed away in between not that long ago. Just really out of the blue. But Jack Danzy, legend, played in the first Balmain Man, and then went to Cronulla and played in their first premiership games when they started in 1967. And we used to love him at school with his history of footy, and lived at Earlwood all his life, and great man. So yeah, very sorry to see him leave us.
As you said, a role model to the young blokes then. So he was actually refereeing at the time that he was teaching
so
you guys?
There was a picture back there in our year 11 or 12, and I played for Newtown, and I got sent off in a semi-final just before, obviously, the grand final. So I went in and said, I'd never been in trouble before in judiciary and whatever else. But the week before, Jack had sent me off at school because I swore at someone. And he got me after that, and he said, Doug, come in here, come to my office. And I did, he ripped shreds, but he said, anyway, that's okay. I'm glad you can play in the grand final. They gave me a caution, and we played Balmain in the final. Unfortunately, they were too good for us. But, I remember that from Jack. I got in trouble. Must have been only twice I was sent off, I'm sure.
And the boys would have been in awe too, having had the first grade career as a player beforehand, knowing that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He looked after the referees. He was the referee's boss there for a while at New South Wales, and just a legend, Jack. And he was a very good footballer.
Now, a bit of a strange incident that happened at the 2008 Rugby League World Cup. There was an incident that got some traction in the media whereby he actually saved French referee Thierry Albert from being attacked.
It's up there.
What do you recall of this incident? Was it Parramatta Stadium, I think?
Yes, Parramatta Stadium. So one of my other jobs that I can list in rugby league was World Cup ball boy manager. Me and Wayne Portlock. So I was out there helping. I had volunteers doing the stuff, and I'm on the sideline, and the game's going, and I seen someone jump the fence on the other side, and I said, "Wow, is that guy? Is he coming onto the field?" And I'm looking around for officials or police or whatever else. And there's nobody, and he's going towards the referee. We know where he's going. So I've run towards him and had to tackle him. Bit of a headlock there. I'm glad one of the players came in, because he would have smashed me, I reckon, if it was just 1-on-1. But got him, and then one of the players came on, and he got fined and that later on. He just wasn't happy with the referee. Yeah, so I got a bit of publicity, and on Channel 10 News, I think it was, on that one. So, yeah, that was funny. Saved the World Cup.
And how was your first contacts? Did you get him on the ground or?
Yeah. It might have been a bit high, but yes. Anyway, it is what it is. We got him off. That was funny. So, and again, right spot at the right time.
So in 2011, you're awarded life membership of the New South Wales referees, and that's why we're speaking to you today.
Yeah.
How special was this to be placed in the same category as many esteemed names that had come before you?
Oh yeah, that's very rewarding, and very grateful to have received that award. I suppose the percentage of people that have life membership that didn't actually referee first grade would be quite small, and I'm in that group. But for services rendered to the association, so no, it was fantastic, and joined an illustrious group of people. Very rewarding, and you get remembered, and things like today, it was fantastic to be interviewed by yourself as a life member of the association. You can see there's some fantastic people that have been around the game for many, many, many years.
I think that's really important that you mentioned that you don't have to just be a first grade referee to get life membership. The contribution is overall, and it's on and off the field. And I'd like to think that we'll certainly talk to many more of our life members that didn't make first grade in the coming weeks and months. And I think everyone has their story, everyone makes a contribution, and it's fantastic to see so many people recognised. Now,
fantastic.
Now, you've always been heavily involved in the social side of things, in refereeing with the social committee and many events. And anyone that's ever heard of refereeing, and maybe even rugby league, knows that wherever there's a microphone, Doug Keane isn't too far away. Has that been something you've always enjoyed and something that you've had a passion for?
Yeah, how that really started was back in the 1980s, mid-80s probably. I was at Redfern Detectives, and there was a tragic incident where one of our sergeants lost his daughter, and his son and daughter-in-law got killed. They just dropped off their twins, at a preschool up in the mountains where a truck driver was stung by a bee, which shook him, and he's moved the steering wheel and squashed these two people, unfortunately, in their car. So there was a fundraiser, and that was probably the first time that I'd picked up the microphone, and I did the auction. We got a lot of stuff donated to help the family and the kids, get through this, and that's when it started. That's when I started with probably with a microphone and doing emceeing and auctions. Auctions my favourite thing, doing live auctions. That's what I love doing the best. I've probably done 200 of them or 300 over the years since for different charities and different things. But yeah, like the ground announcing and stuff, I've done a bit here, and I used to love doing the All Schools Grand Finals day, a bit of music and that going, and then since then I've done a bit of North Sydney and from time to time the Jets. But at the moment, there you can see on the right the West Magpies at Lidcombe Oval. So yeah, I still do a bit of that, and probably before COVID was doing quite a few events to help people out, and mainly just do it to help people. So yeah, I like doing it, get involved, have a bit of fun.
And going hand in hand with that, with lots of the functions, we saw a picture there, Ziggy Niscott. You would have met a lot of rugby league, a lot of rugby league personnel that you either looked up to or enjoyed watching.
I used to go around with Men of League as well. When Men of League first started, we had a bus and we'd do country trips, and you were on the bus there, Johnny Peard and Johnny Raper and all these other people, and that was good fun. So I used to do the auctions on those. But yeah, I like doing all those events, and still do a few here and there now. So it's good.
So in recent years, you've stayed involved in the game at the top level through the interchange and HIA roles. And in 2019, you did the interchange for the grand final. What was that experience like, being in front of 80,000 people? Not too much pressure, getting to sort of soak it in, look around, and
So I was just grateful that when I finished at New South Wales, and they went in a different direction, and basically 30 staff or whatever had changed over or new. And I got a lifeline from the NRL, said, "Do you want to do interchange and stuff?" So yeah, that'd be fantastic. So I got that opportunity, and been doing that for about 3 years now. And yeah, sit on the bench and hear the coaching and whatever else, and get the players on. And I've been doing a bit of compliance as well in the COVID period. It's fantastic. It's surreal just sitting there and being lucky to. You do have to watch things and make sure they sing out your Dougie change before he's down the road, and you got to sprint and get him. It doesn't happen very often, but you got to do your job. But yeah, it's fantastic. So yeah, I've been blessed to still do that. And unfortunately, was doing it to a couple of weeks ago, and I don't think we'll get back here at this stage, but hopefully the grand final or semis might get back in time in Sydney, and we'll just have to wait and see with that one. But yeah, I love it. So it's good fun.
Like a kid in a candy store. Like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone knows you, and they're nice people.
And they really do. Sometimes, being standby on previous occasions, they come at you quick sometimes, and you've got to fire up those old hammies to get down the touchline.
Yeah. Where is he? Oh, he's down there. And sometimes they don't tell you, they just go. So not that I have to tell you, but they could be down the other end and someone's injured down there. So away you go. So no, it's fantastic. And all the guys that do that, and they're predominantly referees that are in the squads doing that with all those games. So it's good to catch up with those guys as well. Nathan McQuirk, I must thank. He was the one that reached out and got me involved again, Nathan. So really appreciate him at the NRL. Great guy.
You mentioned the COVID period. You've been involved in the biosecurity protocols and measures on game day. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that's involved?
Yeah, that was involved, obviously, in this environment. We oversaw the testing of the players when they come through, and officials and everyone that comes into the clean zone. So it's just managing that. And someone has a bit of a temperature, you try and sit them in a cool area and get them in eventually after 15 minutes. That only happened once or twice, I think, the whole time that a couple of people haven't been able to get in, or players. And again, that's a good experience.
And you even a little bit of the game. You even went, I suppose, 50 years back in your rugby league journey, and went back to ball boy the other week.
Yes, ball boy. Yes, out at that was just getting out of the house. I said, "Oh, we need a ball boy at St George," and I said, "Yeah, I'll go." So I was in the back of the post there by myself, and that was the last game in Sydney. So I knew they were saying, "Oh, it's not looking good. Cases are up again. Looks like they're going to Queensland." Well, saying, "No, can't go to Queensland, but they did 2 days later. So, yeah, I wish them all the best up there and hope they can finish off the season. I don't know if New South Wales competitions will get back this year. That doesn't look very fruitful at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, as we go week by week, it looks like the clock's ticking. So we'll see how we go on that front.
Yeah,
now, throughout the various Life member interviews, I've asked each Life member what has been something when reflecting on your career in refereeing, and I suppose for yourself as a player as well, and in the police rugby league, what's the most important thing that you've taken away from refereeing, or what has refereeing given you throughout that time?
Policing and refereeing are very similar in that they're a body of people where not necessarily the public likes you that much. So I wasn't liked on or off the field, I suppose, when I was in the police. But no, that's just a joke. They are different. Referees, bind together. The policing bind together, and they're one big family. It goes hand in hand for me. That's how it's always been. So I've always tried, as I said, just to help people out and have a good time and a bit of fun. And you can see us there with Alan Fella, and there's Sylvia and Clarkie and Clappo and Georgie and Peter Bungate. So that's been the best part of it, the camaraderie and the social aspect of it as well. So that's, we all love rugby league, and that's why we do it.
We're certainly a unique bunch, like you said.
Yes.
We're a target, but we all sort of stick together, which is good to see.
Yeah. I was going to show earlier, but, I just got a few of the jerseys. I've got about 30 left. I've gave away heaps, but, New Zealand tops. This is one of my favourite. This is the World Cup from Leon Williamson, signed it for me. So my best friend of rugby league, he put there and signed that for us. So, it's been good. And the old France, been all over the joint. And the other one is one of my favourites is no referee, no game. That's in Papua New Guinea, where the Coca-Cola referees in Lay Biscuit Company. So that's all been good fun.
Speaking of PNG, you would have done a few courses and some referee development stuff over there over the years.
Now, that is an amazing place. Yeah, talk about Norfolk Island, but PNG, it is a religion. The only country in the world where rugby league is the #1 sport in the country. It started through World War II, through the Aussies visiting up there and Kiwis, and it's just a religion up there. PNG, it's fantastic. There's no other sport, so that goes anywhere near it.
Now, for a bit of fun before we say goodbye, we've got our Fast Five to finish off. So number one, when the world opens up again, where's the first place you'd like to travel to?
Well, it's a striker match between going over to catch up with Leon in New Zealand, because he's got a nice country place to go and visit. But Hawaii, Honolulu, got to get back there, and not just to do another refs course, just to relax.
Who was your favourite rugby league player growing up?
Oh, there's probably a couple of them. I would say, because I'd met him a few times, we were friends, was Arthur Beetson as a forward, and Johnny Peard. Just the way he played, I tried to model my game on him and the bomb and everything else, and I was lucky enough to meet him quite a few times, and still do, Johnny the Bomber. So there'd be Artie and the Bomber Peard.
What's something you can't go without?
Probably rugby league. So that's why it's tough at the moment. But anyway, it's all good. It's we're all doing it tough at this stage. But rugby league, that's what I wouldn't want to go without, and my family.
Now, does the sauce go in the fridge or does it go in the pantry?
Oh, mate, pantry, man. Yeah.
And
pantry,
lastly, how do you have your eggs?
I like them fried most of the time. Yes, fried, man. Occasionally scrambled, boiled.
Well, Doug, thank you for giving up your time today to be part of the series. Thank you again for your ongoing contribution to refereeing and rugby league in general. It's been immense, and it's been ongoing over a long period of time. Your enthusiasm and your passion is only matched by the immense contribution that you've made to rugby league. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. Stay safe, look after your family, and we'll see you sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Daniel, mate, excellent job. Seen the others. You've done a great service there. Keep it up. Yeah, really appreciative. Rugby league, I owe it everything, not the other way around. It's been fantastic. I'll blow the whistle. Not very well, but catch you later on. I still do a little bit of games at wheelchair as well, but mainly disability rugby league these days because they're all quicker than me.
Thanks, Doug. Stay safe.
Thanks,
It's been a
brother.
pleasure. Catch you on the other side.
Thank you.